And so without further ado, we go to John Watkins in Cardiff in the United Kingdom. And I've never talked to you in person. John, we appreciate you coming on with us.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me on the show. It is a real pleasure to be able to speak with you. I mean, yeah, you were so right. Everything you said is just so right. You know, this censorship issue is something that we really can't afford to ignore because, you know, it's our free speech we're talking about, really. And, you know, and I noticed this, you know, the first time I actually noticed this kind of censorship taking place on the internet was about 2 years ago when Google started censoring movies like Terror Storm and Loose Change. And the censorship was just so crude and so obvious and so sneaky that it was just infuriating to watch. You know, I mean, for example, as you said, resetting the hit counters, you know, on certain videos like Terror Storm to knock them out of the top 10 list. And, you know, when I saw that, first of all, I thought, well, maybe it is some kind of software error, but it was happening so often, and it only seemed to happen to truth videos. And another thing I noticed was that on Google Video, they would display the top 10 videos on their homepage. And now, at this time, 2 years ago, I think Terror Storm and Loose Change were there in the top 10. They displayed every other video that was in the top 10 on their homepage except Terror Storm and Loose Change. And again, you know, that set a few alarm bells ringing, you know, in my mind. Then in February of 2007, a couple of months later, Google pulled the infamous BBC video where they reported that Building 7 had collapsed, you know, 20 minutes before it actually did collapse. And, you know, every time somebody tried to upload that video, it was pulled within minutes. And it really was laughable to see. You know, you could sense the panic at Google. They didn't want that video, you know, going out there, basically. But then when people, you know, started to wise up to those tricks, what they did then was just remove the hit counters completely from all videos. So we couldn't really verify for ourselves which videos were actually the most popular. We just basically have to take Google's word for it.
And YouTube is now moving in that same direction, as is MySpace and many others, censoring at every level. So it's here, it's happening, and they shouldn't hold themselves out as this free, open community. And then when our videos don't violate any of their rules or terms, they go in and specifically target them for censorship. This is false advertising. This is fraud.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It is fraudulent, you know, and it was this censorship that I witnessed 2 years ago on Google that made me want to start up a YouTube channel. And back then, Google didn't own YouTube, and there wasn't that much censorship going on YouTube at that time. There probably was some, but it was nothing like it is today. You know, so at that time I thought, you know, I'll put out some videos on YouTube and hopefully try and get this information out there to people, you know. And so, you know, it's thanks to you, Alex, and people like you that, you know, I've been able to expand my worldview. And when you realize the manipulation that's taking place, you know, due to this globalist elite, the first thing you want to do is inform other people, and that's what I'm trying to do on YouTube, is just to get you know, info out there to wake people up. And now it's become so difficult, and it only seems to be after Google bought YouTube, that is when all this censorship seemed to kick in, because it didn't really exist back, you know, 2 years ago, but now it's, you know, it's rife on YouTube right now. And you know,
and that's because we're going into a worldwide controlled depression. The banks are engineering it. They're getting ready to launch new wars. They just tried to start World War III between Pakistan and India, as Paul Watson covered earlier. We need you to make one on that, Nuff, because, I mean, so much is, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's all coming to a head. They have the Violent Radicalization Act they're trying to pass. They list architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth with al-Qaeda terrorists. They're getting desperate. They're the crooks. And higher-ups are saying, shut them down, but that's actually great news because it shows we're having an effect.
Exactly, that's right. You know, and I think it scares them that we're getting information out there to the masses. And, you know, I mean, on YouTube, the methods of censorship now are just so blatant. You know, one method is where, I mean, they remove videos under the excuse that they contain inappropriate content. And this has happened to me a few times about
Oh, I'll have videos that don't even show a woman in a short skirt, and they get banned for inappropriate. Or people creating fake Alex Jones accounts. Then they themselves go in and complain on me. Stuff gets shut down. There's people also editing my videos together where I'm saying racist things. But yeah, tell folks about some of the other tactics.
Well, as I say, they remove videos under the pretense that they contain inappropriate content. But YouTube doesn't give you any explanation as to what it is that they deem to be inappropriate. So you're just left in the dark, basically. And, the one thing I noticed with the videos that they removed of mine under the pretense of, inappropriate content, the one thing they all had in common was that they all chalked up a lot of views within the first 12 hours. I think it was something like 20,000 views within the first 12 hours. And so it seems to me that Google doesn't mind us uploading videos that sort of expose what's happening with this globalist agenda, but they don't seem to like it when those videos, gather a lot of views very quickly, because obviously...
Yeah, here's an example. You made that one about Question Your Reality. It got 200,000 views in one day. It was #1, and then suddenly the comments kept going up by the thousands, but suddenly it was frozen for a few days, frozen in its hits to knock it out of the top.
That's right. That's exactly what I do. What they do. Well, what I noticed with that video was it generated a huge number of hits. Then all of a sudden it just sort of stopped. It was weird, basically. It just, 1 minute it's getting thousands of hits a day, and then the next minute it's just going up by about 100 or something like that a day. And
are you kidding? Got 200,000 in one day.
Yeah. Well, this is it. I mean, that's just one example of what's happening on YouTube at the moment, and it only seems to happen with truth videos. It doesn't seem to happen with all the mainstream sort of stuff, the Britney Spears and all the rest of it. It's only the kind of videos that I upload. And it's not just me that it's happening to. It's happening to so many different channels on YouTube.
Well, now Obama is announcing Internet 2. That's what his tens of billions into that is, to create the new web, force all of us off. As Internet 2 is declared, now is the fight. When we come back in the final segment with the creator of the NufffRespect channel, YouTube/NufffRespect.com. We link to it all the time at Infowars.com. John Wadkins. NufffRespect, you're a great interview. Let me set you up for like a full hour sometime next week to talk about your great films, who you are, getting other people involved, the big event you're having December 19th. That said, I just want to commend you and thank you for all you've done. You're another testament. I mean, today we've talked about retraining Americans how to shoot, the history, the founding fathers, then don't drink the aspartame, how it's deadly. Now we're fighting against censorship. I mean, the example of everybody I've had on today, and you've reached more than anybody in just 2 years on the web, reaching tens of millions conservatively with just the, 1 or 2, 3 videos a month that you make. I salute you, and you are the model of the type of person that's going to turn this world around.
Oh, thanks, Alex. I mean, that's really nice of you to say that. Yeah, I mean, it's thanks to you. If it wasn't for you, there would be no NufffRespect channel on YouTube. It's because of you that I got into doing all this. Because when she realized, the manipulation that's taking place, in this world, the one thing you want to do is inform other people, and that's all I'm trying to do on YouTube, is just try and wake people up, basically. And YouTube is thwarting my efforts every step of the way, so many different methods of censorship, and they're all really crude and sneaky, and it kind of upsets me, because it's not just me it's happening to, it's so many people on YouTube who are just trying to do the same as what I'm doing, and they make it really hard for us. There's just so many different ways that they're doing this now, and some are more blatant than others, but I've seen it enough times to know. I mean, some things you could just brush off as a software error, for example, but, some of the things I've seen, it is definite censorship. There's no other way to describe it, really. I mean, another method they use to censor people, it basically is to suspend people's accounts for no reason at all. And I get emails every single day from people who've had their channels suspended, or they know somebody who's had their channel suspended. And when this happens, you lose all your subscribers, you lose all your friends, all your videos, And then when you try and start up another channel, nobody really knows for sure.
That's right. So we need to create doppelgangers. You need to create, when they used to hack my websites, that's why I have so many, you just create more and promote them all and let people know you're under attack. In the minute and a half we've got left, and I'm going to say to you, I'm going to say bye to you at the end of the show here privately, so don't hang up. Tell us what's coming up the 19th, the challenge video you've got up there right now.
Oh, yeah, well, that's from a user on YouTube called Legitimacy Coalition, and basically he's organizing this thing where what we want to do is get everybody to basically boycott YouTube on December the 19th. Just not log into YouTube at all, not use it in any way, shape or form for that day. And hopefully, if enough of us do that, it'll have an impact. And, you know, we've got to make our voices heard in some way. So, you know, these are the things we're going to have to do now to try and get YouTube to sort of at least...
And we have to boycott it to save it. And again, why are we there? Because it's the biggest place where we can virally reach the people. John Watkins, we'll talk to you and the maker of that channel coming up next week for a full hour, if you can do it. Stay there.
Yeah, no problem.
You bet. It's been great having you on. Don't let them silence the fight against the New World Order.